Hello, how's it going? I'm back again, continuing on with sharing my experience during my time as a Wegman employee, former Wegman employee, and I'm continuing on the start of my training down at the Wegmans Harrison location, and this I share my first week on the moment. The first person, myself and another coworker, her name is Diamond. We receive training from Sandra, and then I receive some feedback, help from team leader Daniel. I notice my voice sounds a bit low. It's a bit groggy. I have like a groggy sore throat. So I'm trying to drink enough tea to clear that stuff out of the way. So anyway, yes, as I was saying, after getting some helpful tips from team leader Daniel and how I can be able to work in controlling the runner, couldn't get much from the CBT demonstration. Surely it couldn't. But just shows how foreign it was for me working at a whole different job environment. From being a home attendant for 13 years. For those 13 years on the field as a home attendant, to being a grocer for a retail supermarket, where that became kind of dead set short journey for me. So anyways, Daniel tells us to work with Sandra. Sandra took us to start working on the aisles and start taking the packages, items from the runners and get to work. Cool. Then, which I can only simply remember, she even assigned us to work on the runs with also another Wegman employee. Once we were done working on the, I think the first two runners we did with Sandra, or I guess we did more. And I think somewhere along the line, Diamond was working with me with a young Wegman employee whom I'm not come to know her name, but this was something I can remember about her. I believe she was in her second year in school, but I forget what was her study major. I think it may involve on social working or somewhere in the health field studies. But like I was saying, Diamond was working with me, and I think she was guided to instead to share. I think she was guided to instead to share the work with someone else at another aisle while I stayed working with the young employee. So yeah, I think that's what happened, to my best memory. Now, while I was working with her and Diamond was away, there was something I noticed. One interesting, clever maneuver that is being practiced in Harrison in the grocery department, or let me say section department. I don't know. Anyway, grocery section that is different from Brooklyn. And what is it is that the routine in Brooklyn the routine of the Brooklyn grocery and working on the shelves, placing the individual product items, out from the runner. Well, I'm saying it. No, I think I'm saying it incorrectly. Um, okay, this was the routine that's done in the grocery Brooklyn section, which I experienced when start pulling out a runner or two to work in the aisles. You also pull out a shopping cart along with the runners so that when unloading the packaged items from the runners and placing the individual items on the shelves, and manage to empty out the boxed products. You throw away all empty boxes into the shopping cart. So there's the shopping cart and the runner or runners parked in one large aisle space. After completing with emptying the runner or more than one of it, and once the shopping cart becomes full or overflowing, full, or you're in the middle of the process and the shopping cart becomes packfully full, yes, there's no such word. Yes, there's no such word as packfully, but I said it anyway. um, but I do regret it though. I regret saying that word, but I said it. But yes, is to first take I think it is to first take back the runner, put and place it away in the back room, or if there's more than one, then take the runners one at a time to the back room, whether the runner are empty or not. Then return, walking back out of the back room, out on the cell floor, back out onto the cell floor to take the shopping cart of crushed load of empty boxes as well. Take it into take it into that back room, so to be thrown into the, I think it's pronounced baler or baler. It's that really big machine where they crush boxes to be recycled. So I think it's baler. I don't know. I'm trying. Moving on. However, um, yeah, however it's pronounced to be called. It's really large. So yeah, that really large metal machine to, crush and press the box, empty packaged boxes into that machine. And see, again, I was a home health aide for 13 years, okay? And working from there to a retail supermarket is a whole different environment. And so there's have to be speaking a whole different language in whatever field you work into. There are various different language of jobs, people say, and it's not always all the same. So anyway, now you got to imagine how much energy is being put up when working on the aisles. Take a runner or runners. So yeah, you got to imagine how much energy is being put up when working on the aisles. Take a runner or two and a shopping cart. If more than one runner, take it one at a time, go back and forth from the back room to the sale floor and back and forth again, then take the shopping cart that's load of crushed boxes, so to be taken and thrown into the to be crushed. That was for me a lot of back and forth energy to burn. And then there's the amount of break you get. And this is how it works. So after going through that burnout energy of that kind of a routine, there's the breaks, and this is how it works. The breaks is 15 minutes with pay, and clock out for the lunch break, which is for 30 minutes without pay. But if working as a full-time position or scheduled an 8-hour shift, if positioned to work part-time and scheduled less than 8 hours, the work, it's like 15-minute break with pay and a 30-minute break without pay. And since I was applied as a full-time position, I would take and just, it's kind of just the same as those other positions that are full-time, which is kind of like mostly those on leading position. So anyways, yeah, it's kind of like that, but they're just there are regular ones working full-time, just a regular employee. So, but yes, so I will take the first 15 minutes break somewhere in between the first 4 hours, and then in the first 4 or 5 hours later, my 30-minute lunch break, which is for that have to be clocked out. Then clock back in once the break is finished. Then, like, the last 4 or 3 hours left before the shift is over, I take another 15-minute break. So what's my take on those type of employee breaks strategy? Well, it's unusual, and every individual can handle it or say deal with it differently. It's somewhat a little okay, but everybody have the different opinions. But like I said, everyone handle it differently. So that is the strategy for the Brooklyn grocery location runner or runners and shopping cart. But not only is it energy consuming, it also takes up, in my view, aisle space. There are like customers and online shoppers going back and forth right by you, left and right. And it can be even challenging if that big step ladder as well is in that very same aisle at the same time, and it's mostly from the online shoppers. Then the customer will start touching, which it used to be my concern, the runners or step ladders, by moving it out of the way just so to reach a particular item without even first asking to assist them to get the item, or I, as the representative, move the heavy equipment for them so they can help themselves getting the item. And that used to set me a little on edge, not asking for assistance to move the runner or stepladder out of the way safely without causing and or say the slightest incidents because of what every type of whatever because of whatever type of shopper happens to in the process. Someone, which I could be incorrect, might end up losing a job or might end up not winning a case because of the employee's careless use of the runner. But like I said, I could be incorrect. And some type of shopper recklessness trying to handle the runner when they shouldn't be, or even the stepladder when they shouldn't be, they shouldn't be touching it. And there's a reason there are those like store representatives. It's their job to be aware of things and know how to handle it carefully. For my sake on the job and for whatever type of shopper's sake for their safety, it's maybe like a no-winner on both sides. But again, I could be incorrect. So now let's jump on how I noticed the strategy difference on how it's handled working with the runners in Harrison grocery location versus Brooklyn. And what I notice is a shopping cart isn't necessary. Just have the runner alone, shopping cart not needed, and if able to grab and empty out a large package box item. Grab and empty out a large package box item. That large box can be used to put in throwaway other empty boxes. It can be one or more than one large empty box to use in throwing away other empty boxes and to gather, and once completing the runners for the aisle that's worked on, only thing you have to do is to take the throwaway crushed boxes or bags along with the runner all together along the way to the back room, throw whatever needs to be put in the baler, that big, huge metal machine, that large metal machine to crush the boxes, like to press them down, or some garbage disposable, and lastly, put away the runner. Plain and simple. No any needs to go back and forth periodically like some crazy chicken. Like if its head got chopped off and consuming all that energy, and like that was better. I was thinking to myself, why couldn't it be that way in Brooklyn? But since like now I'm thinking about it, the interior in the Wegmans Brooklyn grocery section does have a bit of a difference than in Harrison and Astor Place, which that's what I was told from Team Leader K, just as to get a feel experience of the store and what it will be like in Astor and not like in Brooklyn, okay? But that's not exactly in those words from him, but in my understanding. And the strategy routine being done in Brooklyn grocery cannot be practiced as in Harrison grocery. Remembering back, it can be a bit maybe complicated if looking at it differently, you know. So